Okay, a little video on the capo, just because I mentioned that we should bring this along. And this is what capo looks like. And the function of a capo, they're very cheap. You probably all got one anyway, so kicking around somewhere. But if you haven't, just get one, very cheap. And what the function of the capo does is it changes the position of the nut. So this is the nut here that all the strings are kind of attached to or emanate from. And that gives the sort of bass notes G, C, E, A. And if I wanted to change that sort of tuning, if you like, I could move the nut position up, and this is the basis of bar chords. So I could just bar my index finger there and raise the whole tone of the ukulele by a semitone. And so on up the fretboard. So what the capo does is it just makes that a lot easier for us because we can place that on, and it will just bring the position of the nut up by however many semitones we like. So what is the point of that? Well, as we will come to later on, perhaps we should start to think about alternate chords. Some of you play alternate chords already. So for example, one way of playing a D is this. The other way of playing D is by barring the second fret and playing it here. Now you might recognise that actually what we're doing there is we're moving the nut up 2 semitones and we're just playing a C chord. So if I play it here, it's a C chord. And if I want to go from C to D, I need to go up 2 semitones. So C, C sharp, D. But that doesn't sound right if I just play it because the nut's in the wrong position. Now we've got to raise the whole thing by 2 semitones. So I place that there and I can play. Or I can go to B minor. And that fits in the key signature of D. Now the easiest way actually to do that is just to place the capo here, and then I don't have to do the bars. Now I can play C just with one finger, just like normal, but it's actually D. So we've raised everything up by 2 semitones. If I play what would normally be an A minor, it's not an A minor, it's a B minor. And then if I play an F, well that's not an F, that's actually a G. And then if I play G7, it's actually not a G7, it's an A7. And then we go back to D again. Now, what's the point of that? Well, it gives a nice tone to the ukulele, it raises things up, and it means that if we want to play a song in C, using the C chords, but we don't feel it fits our vocal ranges, we could just play it in D, but actually we could just slide the capo up and play all the C chord shapes, and it will be 2 semitones higher. So that's one function of it. The other function is that we can play along to songs that are in a different key. So, for example, Octopus's Garden by the Beatles, which is sung by Ringo Starr. I think it's on Sgt. Pepper's, but I need to check. But we had a comment on Friday that we should do more Beatles songs, and don't think we actually do any, which is probably a fail, considering they're like the best band ever. So we should probably do some, and maybe I'm going to suggest, or I'll suggest that on Good Friday, if we meet, we should have a Beatles night and do as many Beatles songs as possible and see which ones work. But anyway, Octopus's Garden goes like this. There we go. Let's try playing along in C, because I've got...
I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. He'd let us in.
No, wrong chord.
Knows where we've been.
So that doesn't work, so we can't play along in C. So if we look up online, what key is the original in? The original is in E. So we could play along by playing E. And then the second chord would be a C sharp minor. Can't remember what the third one is, but then the fourth chord is a B. So I could play it, that will get us to play along, but that's pretty hard doing, everyone hates E, nobody likes C, that one either, so that's pretty hard. Okay, let's get our friend the capo involved. How do we get from C if we're going to play along in C, how do we get from C to E? Well, we go up 4 semitones on the piano keyboard or on the music stave or whatever. So we go C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. So we need to move the nut up 4 semitones and then we can play in C. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, hold that there, play a C chord. That is an E chord because we've gone up 4 semitones. So then we can play A minor. Then we can play F. It's not really F. So we can play along in the key of E using the capo, using the chord shapes as if we were in the key of C. So now let's play along and see if that works.
I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. He'd let us in, knows where we've been in his octopus's garden in the shade. I'd ask my friends to come and see an octopus
So it does work.
garden with me.
Bum, 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 bum. Okay, a bit for Howard there. So that works. So we can play along to the original just by using a capo and playing along in E very simply using those chords rather than having to learn all those nasty chords where we're barring the 4th fret. The other thing is that we might decide, yeah, we love the song, but it's a little bit high for our particular range. So we could try sliding it down 2 semitones into D, and we could also just play the C chord shapes. So C, which is now D, A minor, which is actually B minor, F, which is G, G7, which is A7. Very easy to play, but it might suit our vocal ranges a lot better. And I think the other benefit is that it gives a really sweet sound to the uke by playing higher up the neck. And it's different to some other songs where we're always playing with the root position. So there we go. That's how it works. I hope that's useful and makes sense. I haven't completely confused everybody. So see you all on Thursday.